Hare Krishna everyone, we're continuing to read The Science of Self-Realization, the book by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter number 5, Practicing Yoga in the Modern Age. Continuing. This section is entitled The Appearance of Lord Chaitanya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam there is a list of the Avataras, and there is mention of Lord Buddha's name. This Srimad Bhagavatam was written 5,000 years ago, and it mentions different names for future times. It says that in the future the Lord would appear as Lord Buddha. His mother's name would be Anjana, and he would appear in Gaya. So, Buddha appeared 2600 years ago. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was written 5,000 years ago, mentioned that in the future he would appear. Similarly, there is mention of Lord Chaitanya, and similarly, the last avatara of this Kali Yuga is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It is mentioned that the last incarnation in this age is Kalki. He will appear as the son of a Brahmana whose name is Vishnu Yasha, in a place called Shambhala. There is a place in India with that name, so perhaps it is there that the Lord will appear. So an avatara must conform to the descriptions in the Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, and other Vedic literatures. And on the authority of Vedic literature and the commentary of great stalwart Goswamis like Jiva Goswami, who was the greatest scholar and philosopher in the world, we can accept Lord Chaitanya as an incarnation of Krishna. Why did Lord Chaitanya appear? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, quote, "Give up all other engagements and simply engage in my service. I will give you protection from all results of sinful actions." Unquote. In this material world, in conditional life, we are simply creating sinful reactions. That's all. And because of sinful reactions, we have received this body. If our sinful reactions stopped, we would not have to take a material body. We should get a spiritual body. What is a spiritual body? A spiritual body is a body which is free from death, birth, disease, and old age. It is an eternal body, full of knowledge and bliss. Different bodies are created by different desires. As long as we have desires for different kinds of enjoyment, we have to accept different kinds of material bodies. Krishna, God, is so kind that He awards whatever we want. If we want a tiger's body with tiger-like strength and teeth with which to capture animals and suck fresh blood, then Krishna will give us the opportunity. And if we want the body of a saintly person, a devotee engaged only in the service of the Lord, then He will give us that body. This is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. If a person engaged in yoga, the process of self-realization, somehow or other fails to complete the process, he is given another chance. He is given birth in a family of pure Brahmana or a rich man. If one is fortunate enough to have birth in such a family. He gets all facilities to understand the importance of self-realization. From the very beginning of life, our Krishna conscious children are getting the opportunity to learn how to chant and dance. So when they are grown up, they will not change, but instead will automatically make progress. They are very fortunate. Regardless of whether he is born in America or Europe, a child will advance if his mother and father are devotees. He gets this opportunity. If a child takes birth in a family of devotees, this means that in his last life he had already taken to the yoga process, but somehow or other he could not finish it. Therefore, the child is given another opportunity to make progress under the care of a good father and mother, so that he will again advance. In this way, as soon as one completes his development of God consciousness, then he no longer has to take birth in this material world, but returns to the spiritual world. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, quote, "My dear Arjuna, if one understands my appearance and disappearance and activities, simply because of this understanding, he is given the opportunity to take birth in the spiritual world after giving up this body." Unquote. One has to give up this body today, tomorrow, or maybe the day after that. One has to. But a person who has understood Krishna will not have to take another material body. He goes directly to the spiritual world and takes birth in one of the spiritual planets. So Krishna says that as soon as one gets this body, it doesn't matter if it is from India or the moon or the sun or Brahmaloka or anywhere within this material world, one should know that it is due to his sinful activities. There are degrees of sinful activities, so according to the degree of sinfulness, one takes a material body. Therefore, our real problem is not how to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Our real problem is how to get a body that is not material, but spiritual. That is the ultimate solution to all problems. So Krishna guarantees that if one surrenders unto him, if one becomes fully Krishna conscious, then he will give one protection from all directions. Protection from all reactions to sinful life. This assurance was given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. But there were many fools who could not understand Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, they are described as mudhas. Mudha means rascal. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "They do not know what I actually am." So many people misunderstood Krishna. Although Krishna gave us this message of the Bhagavad Gita so that we could understand him, many people missed the opportunity. Therefore, Krishna, out of his compassion, came again as a devotee and showed us how to surrender unto Krishna. Krishna himself came to teach us how to surrender. His last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita is to surrender. But people, mudhas, rascals, said, "Why should I surrender?" Therefore, although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, this time he teaches us practically how to execute the mission of the Bhagavad Gita. That's all. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching nothing extraordinary, nothing beyond the process of surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which was already taught in the Bhagavad Gita. There is no other teaching, but the same teaching is presented in different ways, so that different kinds of people may take it and take the opportunity to approach God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us the opportunity to reach God directly. When Rupa Goswami, the principal disciple of Lord Chaitanya, first saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was a minister in the government of Bengal, but wanted to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So, he gave up his position as a minister, and after joining, when he surrendered, he offered a nice prayer to Lord Chaitanya. This prayer says, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurat Vishai Namaha. Quote, My dear Lord, you are the most munificent of all the incarnations. Unquote. Why? Krishna Prema Pradayate. You are directly giving love of God. You have no other purpose. Your process is so nice that one can immediately learn to love God. Therefore, you are the most munificent of all incarnations. And it is not possible for any personality other than Krishna himself to deliver this benediction. Therefore, I say that you are Krishna. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne. You are Krishna, but you have assumed the name Krishna Chaitanya. I surrender unto you. So this is the process. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he is teaching how to develop love of God by a very simple method. He simply says to chant Hare Krishna. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Iva Kevalam, Kalaunastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Gatiranyatha. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 17.21. Quote, In this age, simply go on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. There is no other alternative. Unquote. People are embarrassed by so many methods of realization. They cannot take to the actual ritualistic processes of meditation or yoga. It is not possible. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya says that if one takes up this process of chanting, then immediately he can reach the platform of realization. The chanting process offered by Lord Chaitanya for achieving love of God is called Sankirtana. Sankirtana is a Sanskrit word. Sam means samyak, complete, and kirtana means glorifying or describing. So complete description means complete glorification of the Supreme, or the Supreme complete whole. It is not that one can describe anything or glorify anything, and that will be kirtana. From the grammatical point of view, that may be kirtana, but according to the Vedic system, kirtana means describing the supreme authority, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. That is called kirtana. This devotional service begins with the method of Shravana. Shravana means hearing, and kirtana means describing. One should describe, and another should hear. Hence, we are Shravanam Diaries podcast. Or the same man himself can both describe and hear what we're doing here. So the same man himself can both describe and hear. He does not need anyone else's help. When we chant Hare Krishna, we chant and hear. This is complete. This is a complete method. But what is that chanting and hearing? One must chant and hear about Vishnu, Krishna, not of anything else. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. One can understand Vishnu, the all-pervading absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, by the method of hearing. We have to hear. If one simply hears, that is the beginning. One does not need any education or development of material knowledge. Just like a child, as soon as he hears, immediately he can respond and dance. So by nature, God has given us these nice instruments, ears, so that we can hear. But we must hear from the right source. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One must hear from those who are devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are called Satam. If one hears from the right source, from a realized soul, then it will act. And these words of God, or Krishna, are very relishable. If one is intelligent enough, he will listen to what is spoken by the realized soul. Then, very soon, he will be released from material entanglements. This human life is meant for advancing on the path of liberation. That is called apavarga, freedom from entanglement. Jai, we're going to stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.